What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and this, my friends, is the BluXPerience, episode number 19. Holy crap. And we got the homie XP19 with us once again for the 19th time. Matter of fact, actually, this is my 18th episode. I missed a week when I had COVID.
Yes, you did. You did, man. I did a solo gig one time without you, man. It wasn't the same, though. I'm telling you right now, it wasn't the same. But yeah, 19, man. Can I believe it? 19 in 1 year. This is crazy. And actually, we didn't start this at the beginning of the year. We started, what, middle of the year sometime?
Yeah.
It was nuts. But guess what? It's going to be a good one, guys. We are honored to have Mr. Ricardo Marilla, but you're like, who? No, Mr. LatinVFR himself is in the house today with us to discuss everything about flight simming and sceneries and other things that we're going to be talking about, man. So we're happy to have you on the show. Ricardo, welcome aboard, my friend. How you doing, man?
Hey, my friend, how's it going? Thank you for inviting me to this show, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man.
First of all, I love your accent. Where are you from?
Actually, my parents are Dominican. I was born here in the States, so I've been back and forth, Dominican and the United States, so it's kind of a mixed accent, yeah.
Makes sense. That's why that MDST scenery looks so good, because you're like, I gotta get that one right.
Hey, I saw the Puerto Rican scenery, and I was like, is this guy Puerto Rican? Because I felt like some of the Caribbean airports you guys have made are even higher quality. Like, nothing down on the other ones. It's just like, I feel like you put a little bit more love into you know what I mean?
They are special, yeah. It's amazing places to visit, and people love those places. They're tropical, you know how they are.
So
they're amazing.
Really quick, for those people who don't know, who are watching the show or watching the stream, who LatinVFR is, the name makes sense now that we know where you're from, right? But so who are you? Like, what do you do? Is it just you? Like, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Okay, so around 2008, I was unemployed because of the crisis. You know, in 2008 there was a crisis, economic crisis, and I just graduated from college. So I took a part-time job, and then I found myself with so much free time. The thing is, many years before, I used to do as a hobby, not a hobby. I had a little small company. It was called Dominican Aerodromes. I used to release Dominican airports. But it was a very part-time, kind of thing. So I released them for FS 2004. Yeah, FS 2004.
Wow.
Before that, I used to do freeware for FS 2002. So basically, the idea of me selling things and downloadable for sale was actually getting it for free first, and then I saw there was a market for this, and then I jumped in. So around the year 2008 or so, I started doing, getting into it a little bit more deeper, so to speak, So I had bills to pay, things to do. And so from there on, I decided to make this like not a part-time, but a full-time thing. And thankfully, it's been great. It's been great all these years. I remember back when the year 2000, 2001, I used to get my scenery. Everything was free in that time. You used to just download and install a free airport, and there wasn't that much emphasis on, on quality back then. But then as time evolved, the tools became much better. I decided to actually get in it, and I started doing freeware airports, basically from my native country, Dominican Republic, and then in 2008, I began doing other airports, not necessarily Dominican airports, and LatinVFR was the idea of Latin airports, so to speak. So I started with an airport in Colombia, then I did Cayman Islands, Cayman Islands Airport, and then other airports in Central America, Caribbean, then South America. And then after that, I ventured into the States. I started doing Key West. When I did Key West, it was my first non-Latin airport, so to speak, right? And it was a great success, thankfully. And I said, well, let's keep going. And then I moved on to Miami, and then from there on, other airports, San Diego, you know.
So
And
you basically march from South Caribbean and just keep moving your way up on the map. I see
that's
it.
right. That's
Wow.
right. Yeah.
Nice.
But then there was this group of people who say, "Oh, you're neglecting, you're abandoning the Latin airports," and they said that, and I said, "Okay, look, I want to do this other Latin airport," and then I went from there to back and forth. So European, I mean American, then Latin, Caribbean, then and then back in 2017, was it? Yeah, I did my first European, which was Barcelona. Was a nice airport, and back then when I released it, well, you know, European market for airports is was very tight because there were so many people doing. And by the time I decided to start doing it, I found out that there was this other group that was also releasing it, and it was like, oh. And then after they released it, I released mine, and then there was this other group that said,
Oh
"Oh,
my
so there
God.
were 3
Oh man.
Barcelonas."
Wow.
What platform is this for?
That was FSX and prepared 2, prepared 3, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So then, I mean, just keep going, and then keep going with other airports, and now with MS Flight Simulator 2020, we've been able to actually cut up and try to release as much as possible airports, and we've done airports, and as you said, AirX, we've released those packages also, which are not airports, are basically tools to enhance the airport atmosphere in a way, so to speak. And other tools, for example, the Jetway also, I think. I don't know if you've seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have. Oh, we're gonna get into it. Don't worry, man.
Oh.
I got tons of questions for you. It's gonna go
All
on
right,
for
sure.
a minute. We're gonna go on
Sure.
for a while.
Sure. Yeah.
But before we even, we even go into the specifics of the different airports and stuff, because I got tons of questions on those and the other products like ARIX
Right.
and the airport and so forth. You said something a few minutes ago. How does it feel to be able to take a hobby basically and make it your full-time job business? How does that feel? I always like to ask that question because I think a lot
Yeah.
of us would love to do that, but we
Yeah.
don't know how to get there. How does it feel, man?
Well, it's great actually. Well, to be quite honest with you, I'll be straightforward. I wanted to be a pilot, but
Ah,
anyways, um, you know, the thing is, sometimes you want to do something, but you prefer to. I'm still doing it, which is working with airports and flying on with the computer. It's not the same, obviously, as flying a real airplane, but that was my idea as a child to actually be a pilot. But in any case, I put that on hold for maybe doing a private pilot license later on. Who knows? But the idea of doing it as a hobby, I already had the know-how. Basically, I knew how it worked more or less. I knew what kind of things people were looking for on a product that you do. People are more, let us say, a little bit more attentive when it is a payware. They should, because they're paying for it. Before, when I was doing it as a hobby, I was just releasing freeware. People did not actually look at it and say, "Look, you made an issue here. You didn't do this correctly, whatever." And that's understandable because you were doing it for free. So once it became something that you work on, it became it became more not a hobby, but let us say something that you enjoy doing, but at the same time you're making a living from it. So it was actually great, and it's a learning experience. The biggest challenge is to actually the learning curve. When FS 2020 came out, a lot of people were freaked out. A lot of developers were freaked out because, well, we're gonna learn a lot of stuff. We need to learn new things, etc., etc. It's part of everything. Like I said, I've done FS 2002, FS 2004, FSX, the different versions of Prepared, Lockheed Martin Prepared. Um, Many of them have different codes on it that you cannot use on Prepared version 4 or Prepared version 5, etc. So you need to actually update them. So it's a learning experience all the way, and FS 2020 is also a learning experience.
so that's about what, seven different simulators you've worked with?
Yeah.
Jesus, man. Wow.
Yeah. So, and about X-Plane, I know you guys are also from X-Plane. Actually, I had some people who managed to help me out and say, look, we'll go ahead and convert the scenery that you do for X-Plane. And they reached out, and I think you could find most of the most important ones there.
Well,
Thanks.
question about it, because I was going to bring up the X-Plane thing. I've seen that, you on your website, you have all the different sceneries for the different platform, except X-Plane. What brand is it released under in X-Plane? It's not under LatinVFR, is it?
No, actually, it's under different brands.
Okay.
If you go to the xplane.org website, you can look for the airports, for example, Fort Lauderdale Airport. I think you have it.
Ah, yes, I
No
do.
way, you didn't make that.
Yeah, we did the modeling there, and
Nice.
yes, and the developer is kind enough to actually, we went ahead and did an agreement. And what's the name of the company again? I'm so
It
sorry.
says DS on it.
It's yep.
Yeah, they also did, I think, Raleigh Durham. They did Fort Lauderdale Airport. I mean, San Juan also. Um,
No wonder it's
there's a
so
few.
good.
Yeah, there's other few airports that we didn't do. For example, we didn't do Miami because we knew that Miami had a lot of competition.
Right.
Yeah, so that was more or less gonna.
Well, just to get technical then, why did you choose not to, or have somebody else help you with the X-Plane? Is it harder to code? Is it different than what you're used to, or?
It's a combination of many things. Some of it is laziness. The thing is, there's different way for the terrain in X-Plane to be created. It's not easily to port from one system to the other. The hardest part, which is the design and texturing, that's been sent to the person who does it, and they just take care of actually putting it into the X-Plane world. What happened was, yeah, they contacted me, and then we got into an agreement, and it worked out well, I think. And yeah, the thing is, in my case, my situation, since, for example, I work with other people. Usually, what I am in charge of, mostly of, besides design and handling all those sort of things going on with the website, I have to code it, put it into the system, and try to put it, for example, in Flight Simulator 2020, or put it in prepared. So basically, the coding part is my work, placement and all that sort of thing. And the other people who help me out, they usually go ahead and do the modeling work. They do the texturing work, and I have to make sure that's being transported into the sim. And so yeah, so basically that's more or less how it works. That's how it goes. Yeah.
What type of what type of coding goes into scenery development?
Okay, so thankfully for MSFS 2020, the coding is quite similar to that of Prepared and Flight Simulator X.
Nice.
They mostly kept most of the parts of scenery design. Of course, I can speak for airplanes, because airplanes is more complex. But from what I've seen, airplane is a little bit more simpler than from before. But in my side of scenery, I need to actually, the way it works, I need to be in the sim to actually place the objects accordingly. And you design them from another, for example, 3ds Max. You texture with Photoshop. Now we're using also a tool called what's the name? It's another Photoshop type of tool, that Substance Spinner, yeah. So we're also working with that program, which is, I mean, if you've seen the jetway that we did, it was completely done with that texturing program, which is actually one of the best right now. And the coding is based on the XML type of codes that you insert into the compilers of FS 2020. And you need to actually work with a type of file format, which is the GTLF type file, and it's honestly very straightforward for FS 2020. I think FS 2020 in a way made it much simpler to actually develop scenery, made it, the user interface is actually much simpler than before. So that's more or less how it works in terms of developing. It's not that difficult. The most difficult part it is for, obviously, is the design of the buildings, of the models, and the texturing, which is, I think, requires 60 or 70% of the time.
Wow.
So yeah, basically, it all depends on how good you are with the tools. And 3ds Max, which is a tool that we use. Before 3ds Max, I used to use Gmax, which was something that came with Microsoft Lightroom X, came free. And then this program, which is 3ds Max, it's a very expensive program. Some people use Blender. I don't know if you heard it. Blender is another tool. It's very, very good. And you could also export from there to GTLF file and insert it into Flight Simulator. So, yes.
Wow.
And well, one part which I also get a lot of help from, it's the animation. For example, as you can see in the RX animations and the coding, that's somebody else who helps me out with that. That's Irfan. He's a very nice guy. He does a lot of work with other developers too, and he helped me out with the coding, with the animations and all that. You see all those animations, all the sounds, and all that sort of thing. So it's a team effort. It's a team effort. Yeah.
What size team do you say you have? What's your team size?
Right now, my team is around four people. Okay. And from time to time, I contract other guys on the outside too. Yeah.
Here's a question that I ask other senior developers. How do you, well, one, what goes into choosing a scenery, and once you decide what scenery you want to do, how do you get the assets for, like, what it looks like, what it feels like, what's around it, and so forth? How does that process look like?
Okay, so I haven't done a new airport in a long time. We just recently released Miramar Airport, which is an airfield in South California, scene of Top Gun. We just recently did that. That's the newest one we've done. For example, in that situation, choosing that one was because we saw that there was this, for example, this interest in doing flying into airports that had to do with Top Gun, because we were expecting that Microsoft was gonna go ahead and do the Top Gun expansion. So it turns out they haven't released it yet, but they have just they released Miramar also, but freeware. So we were surprised about that. But in any case, we went ahead and go ahead and released our version. A lot of people liked it. It's been great, and so far so good. The reason we chose that one, like I said, was because we're looking at what people were looking for into having, and we saw a lot of people interested in combat aircraft in Flight Simulator 2020.
Blue
so we said, okay, let's give that a shot.
I might be one of them.
Yeah.
So in the past, for example, let's say the last airport I did was Fort Lauderdale Airport, I think. Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Oh, yeah,
and,
my favorite.
Yeah, actually, there was already a very good version from flights from FS Dream Team. They did a very good version. Yeah, they did that in, I think, 2012 or 2011. I'm not sure.
What do you mean on FSX then?
FSX, was it?
Right.
It was many years ago. They hadn't done the sloped runway. So in this situation, I said, okay, if we're going to do this airport, we're going to have to do the sloped runway system. And
that's what, 2.8 left and 10 right, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that in Fort Lauderdale, that runway slopes up because it goes over a roadway that goes right underneath the end of the runway,
US
the threshold, US 1. Right.
Yes.
And I remember the airport before that was built, which is crazy. And then so when I saw yours, I was like, oh, okay, it is really sloped. It's different to land there than it is to land on the other runway, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
So I usually, when I choose a project, I like to choose challenging ones. For example, the challenging part of doing that airport for prepared was that in the FS world, in the prepare world, everything was flat. So doing a slope runway would be a challenge to actually accomplish. Thankfully, we managed to get we managed to actually get that slope runway to look good and to work correctly. There were some challenges. For example, when we did that, the AI aircraft wouldn't follow slope in certain
Oh,
circumstances.
wow.
So there was an add-on that came out from some guys, very good guys. They went ahead and made that possible that the AI traffic follows the slope. Turns out it worked, but just recently, a few months ago, it stopped working for the new version of Prepared. So we had to stop using it. But in any case, Prepared is in FSX is very challenging. I'm sure Explain isn't with slope because I think Explain does have slopes, right?
Yes, yes, it does.
Yeah. So it was a very challenging airport to do, but people loved it. People really liked it, and the reason I chose that airport was because exactly that the sloping runway wasn't done, and it was a very interesting thing to do. And I mean, frankly, you need something to actually get you hyped up to work. I mean, if you're gonna do just a plain regular old airport, you're not gonna feel motivated, because money alone is not the only motivation. You also want something to actually make you want to do it,
and
and
a sense of pride in your work and in what you're doing.
right, and the challenge,
right
you
here.
want to do a challenge, you want to do something that is completely different. um
How did you get to put a cruise ship in the scenery? How do you model that?
well, there was this the freeware add-on of cruise ships and all that ships.
Mhm.
This person named I think it's Hendrik, his name. He's a very good guy. He helped me out. I reached out to him when I did New Orleans airport. I wanted to do the traffic around the Mississippi River. The New Orleans airport is right in the Mississippi. So I reached out to him and I said, look, can you help me out doing some traffic on the Mississippi River? Because I want that to look alive, like real life. That was another project which I did, and it interested me really to actually get that traffic on the river. So he reached out. He said, "Yeah, I could help you out." He did. He was really kind enough. He did the animations and everything to work like an AI ships for the river. So when he did that, he also added a cruise ship. And then when I was doing Fort Lauderdale, I went ahead and I emailed them, "Hey, look, can you lend me the ship to put it right there?" Because Fort Lauderdale Airport has the ships right next to it. So yeah, he said, "Of course, go ahead." And he just passed many of the other things. For example, ships, airplanes, or whatever. You could also find it in some other websites, and they could just sell them to you, and you just try to put the code for it to show on the simulator. But turns out that ship, he was really kind enough to actually allow us to use it. He was a very cool guy. Yeah, he's not. I mean, he does it for free. I think the freeware add-on. It's in Flight Sim Tow, I think TO.
Right, right.
Uh, the free AI ships. It's an amazing add-on. He added for prepared and for fast, and the way he works is very awesome because he travels a lot, and he on his with his laptop. He on the flights, he just starts modeling ships. It's amazing. It's a really cool guy. Really
Wow.
cool guy.
Wow. See, Blue is showing the Fort Lauderdale scenery on beside us now on the screen, which is pretty cool. Go back to that ship one, Blue.
I'm actually on New Orleans now.
He's in New Orleans.
That's always he's ahead to New Orleans, man. But let me ask you: you talk about other people and helping you, and you helping other people. Is there good camaraderie behind the scenes of the developers? Do you guys talk a lot about the new stuff coming out and how you fix stuff and so forth? Is there?
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of course, competition between us, but there's a lot of respect between us. We don't want to step in anybody else's shoes, and you want if you're gonna have something's gonna happen, you give them a heads up. You let them know, hey, look, this is gonna come out. When I did AREX, I emailed Umberto from FS Dream Team, and I told him, look, I'm getting this package out because I know you have GSX. Give it a shot, check it out. And he was kind enough to say, look, don't worry about it. I'll check it out or whatever. And when Flight Simulator 2020 started, we kind of helped out between us. For example, Emilio's from Flight Tampa was very kind enough to go back and forth with us and with others. Also, Amir from Flight Beam, also a great guy. He was very kind. Behind the scenes, we all of us, we communicate. And yeah, there's not that much of issues going on. We all got along. And right now we're very happy with the way things are working out for most of us. Yes.
I want to say, like, I think that's freaking amazing. The fact that all of you guys, like, you know, from time to time talk, I'm sure you bounce ideas off each other, or you like, hey, I'm working on this, or hey, can you help me figure out how to get past this hurdle or whatever. I think that's so good, especially for us as a community, because we get a better product, because it's like, it's not just you lone wolfing it, like solo. Like, yeah, you know, you're majority, you know, small team or whatever, but there's a lot of other great developers and great teams out there who have been going through the exact same issues as you, and I'm sure they probably Googled their heart out. They probably researched, you know, how the heck do I make a slope runway or something like that, you know, and you could just easily just send over an email to somebody like, hey, well, this is what I did, you know. So to be able to do that and see that respect, especially when it comes to, like, you know, stepping on each other, where it comes to the same airport or similar project that may affect someone else. I really love that respect that you guys have for each other. But my question is, how does that happen? Like, do you just have like 3 or 5 different guys that you just always go to, or is there like some kind of website you guys are going to connect to each other? Like, how do you guys even find?
Good question. Actually, there are forums, forums for Flight Simulator 2020. There is a forum also for Prepared, and sometimes we post on those forums, and some of those forums are closed to the public, some aren't, but most of the time we either private message or we email back and forth. I want to do a special shout out for Stanislaw from To Risky Design. He allowed me to actually license some of his airplanes that he uses, so that we use the recent static aircraft package. So sometimes there's that collaboration between us that allows us to do packages and make them better and sort of thing. So yeah, there's always communication, and from the guys that I've been talking to, there's a lot of years of back and forth. So right now, the way that the sim is working, the market is, with so many new designers coming in, sometimes it's hard to keep up with so many of them coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're always open. We're so open to speak with everybody and get along. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Let me talk about different sceneries. Which is the easiest scenery to talk about different platforms for you. Which is the easiest and the hardest platforms to work with to develop your sceneries? What would you say?
The hardest, I think, was FS 2004. There were a lot of tricks going on, and I think FSX competes a little bit with that, because FSX, Asus, Microsoft, they disbanded it. They left it unfinished, the code. So we had to find ways to actually work around having an incomplete sim work, which was what happened with FSX.
Wait. Pause for a second. Say that again. That sounds familiar. You had to figure out how to work with an incomplete sim.
Yeah, an incomplete SDK. Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, they completely abandoned the team. They completely abandoned the project in 2007, I think, 2006, 2007. So Lockheed Martin came in, picked it up, and they started working their way up, and things started to improve. They opened a forum, they started listening to people, they started, working things out. I think the easiest for now, I think, is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. There's no doubt. I think
Wow.
you can't see the amount of new developers coming in. It's because it's a much simpler,
Hmm.
much smoother way of working, which is, I think, best for the consumer, because the consumer will always get much more of what they want, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha.
So,
Is that the reason why, on average, I think the price in Microsoft Flight Sim for scenery is a little bit less than others?
yeah, and also that, but because also the
Demand.
audience, yeah, there's more demand now. I think mostly because of Xbox, and the marketplace has kind of expanded. People really like having that access to something they buy on the sim. So even though we might like for people to come and buy it on our website, um, the thing is that people really like to actually go in and buy it in the sim. So that's how people are actually more accustomed to. Yes.
Do you have any kind of data with the breakdown of people on Xbox who are buying sceneries versus people on PC, or is that hidden from you?
Well, I could say that it's a little bit hidden because the way that Microsoft reports, I could tell you that for a fact the people who buy on our website and on Sin Market, they use it on the PC, because we don't have whatever you buy on our website, you cannot install it in Xbox. You need to everything for Xbox needs to be bought from the marketplace. From my vantage point, I think if we can split, there's like a 25-30% of people actually that buy from the marketplace specifically, and I don't know how much of those are actually Xbox only users. But I think the fact that the marketplace has that access, people have that access to the marketplace, expands the amount of people willing to purchase items and products from the sim.
Gotcha. That's funny because my preference, even though the marketplace is there, I think I maybe bought one scenery from the marketplace, and after that, I was like, nah, I'd rather buy it from your website or whoever developer,
Right.
or even from the Flight Beam Studios. Something
Right.
about being able to download the scenery outside of the sim without having the sim running or whatever.
Mm.
I love that. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's because you're established flight simmer.
Right.
You're established. Many of the people coming into FS 2020 are new people, or people that maybe left many years ago and came back. So because many folks already are established in it, they prefer to use it the way they're accustomed to. Yeah.
Yeah, originally I was actually really excited about the marketplace idea because I personally didn't like having to go to 10, 20 different websites to get scenery and add-ons. Like I wanted
That's
just
yeah.
one source. I'm like, all right, I want to know that I can just go here to get my
Yep.
add-ons, and I know is also that this website or platform is going to either keep my stuff updated or update me on when I should be updating. Because a lot of times, like on X-Plane, we
Right.
have the store, and that store does, it stays updated, but it never updates you when an update happens. So you just have
Right.
to just see a forum post out of luck, and then you go, all right, I gotta go update this plane. Obviously we have Skunk Crafts updated now on X Plane side, but on Microsoft I was like, oh, this is dope. We got a marketplace. I'm able to buy it on the marketplace. Sometimes it's on sale. It just installs right into the sim. I don't have to restart the sim. I can boot up and it'll be updated, whatever. But now later on, I'm kind of like, I think I like it better, getting it from like Orbix Direct or like Contrail or Flightbeam or LatinVFR's website or even Secure Market or Sim Market, because there you get the update earlier. You have to wait forever to get an update in Marketplace, and for two, you just have more control.
Well, I'll be straight up honest with you. They did have a lot of issues updating, but apparently they're getting their act together, because just recently I did an update, and it only took like 2 or 3 days for them to actually they put it in on the next time they released products.
Wow.
There was a time, yes, and I completely agree with you, that they took a long time to release an update. Right now they're giving priority to the updates instead of new products.
Hmm.
So that may be a problem for people who want to, for developers who want to put in the product right away. But right now they're giving prior. I gotta hand it to them. They have done a great job. Just recently, a few weeks or maybe a month from now, I've seen they have sped up the process for updating. But what you said initially about having everything in one place, that's something that many people in the community really wanted. And instead of having different websites, that's something that people really like. Another thing is, for example, usually a customer is a little bit more afraid, let us say, of trying out a website they don't actually know, or
Right.
a store they don't actually know, and they find that if they go to Microsoft, which is the person who has the SIM, they find it to be a little bit more trustworthy. So that's more or less how it's going. But typically, the established simmer doesn't have the same concern, so to speak.
I think
Yep.
if I was starting over and I didn't know anything about flight sim or the flight sim community, I would be afraid out of my life to buy anything from Sim Market. like think about going there for the first time. You see all these ads. You just see like a gajillion things on there, and it's like, what the heck is P3D? What is X-Plane? You know what I mean? Like, imagine like getting in there for the first time. Like, of course, I would definitely not trust any. I probably wouldn't even trust FlightSim.to. You know, no, I mean, I love the website, right? And I do trust it. I'm not saying you shouldn't trust it. I'm just saying, like, as a new simmer and as a person who in the past have gotten into communities, and, you know, like, for example, I'm into trucking as well, American Truck Sim, stuff like that, and they have a similar process where you got to go to these different websites to download a lot of even the same add-ons. And I'm like, well, where do I go? They all have these really sketchy downloaders. So, you know, getting it straight from the source, you know, from, if you bought it on Steam, you get it straight from Steam, right? If you bought it from Marketplace, you get it straight from within the Marketplace where you bought the product. You feel a lot safer to get that product from there. So I definitely feel like the newer people are probably going to want to go there no matter what, especially on the Xbox, because it's your only choice.
There's limitations, of course, going on. For example, with having it only in the marketplace. For example, my first AirX, which I think Norm, you did a live stream.
Mhm.
You could select airlines, for example, with the Control app. You could actually select an airline. You cannot do that with the Microsoft with the marketplace version, because simply you cannot have another program outside of the SIM to actually make changes within the SIM if you have it on the marketplace. So that's a limitation that you have, and I'm pretty sure that's a limitation many of us developers do not like. If someone buys from the marketplace, they cannot have that option. So that's something to consider, and I'm really hoping they find a way that we could actually, the customer could actually put options in the whatever they buy on the marketplace, because that's something that a lot of people are asking for. Yeah.
Jeez. Now, look, you're teaching us a lot here about what goes on, because I don't have an Xbox and Blue doesn't have an Xbox, but
Not yet.
you know, not yet. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, we're old school PC. That's what we want to be. You know what I mean? We're full simming that way, but that's good stuff. Talk about you keep mentioning ARIX, and I'm sure some people might not know what ARIX is. Can you give us an overview of what ARIX is and how it's supposed to work or should work?
Okay. So within the SIM, you have the normal catering trucks, which is blank in the entire world. You have the normal pushback truck, which is the same in the entire world. Then you have also the baggage truck, which is the same in the entire world, the same type, and doesn't have any logo for any company. Doesn't have anything that looks a little bit, different. With AirX, you could actually get, for example, trucks or baggage loaders or whatever, or catering trucks that look for that area. So the way that Flight Simulator works, there's many regions in the world divided. For example, for North America, there's like 3 regions. There's everything from southern Florida, southern Texas, southern California. That's a region. Then you have like a small region in Arizona, and then you have the rest of the entire North America area, all the way from let's say Georgia to Canada. That's a region. So what we did is we did those 3 regions and put vehicles that look like they are from North America vehicles, because the vehicles that you have from FlySim, they look a little bit, generic type European type of vehicles. And also for the default vehicles, because Microsoft trying to keep with the within their limits of copyrights, They don't put any logos of any airlines or any companies because they don't do that. So we went ahead and with our own vehicles, we put in logos with those for those companies that do GSE, ground service equipment. They do catering, they do fuel, they do all those sort of things. So we try to make them look more realistic to the regions. And for example, with Europe, we had a lot of more chances to actually go ahead and do many different types of vehicles because it was divided, I think, in 7 regions, I think. So that allowed us to actually, for example, there's a region for France. We put in there France. There's a region for the UK. We put in some logos for certain companies there. And for Russia, they did a region for Russia. So we did a catering truck with Russian letters on it. There's a region for Greece, and we went ahead and put some companies that look like from Greece, that sort of thing. So that's more or less where we come in. And so far, we released the entire world. After Europe, we did Asia, and after Asia, we went ahead with the tropics and South America, and then finally we did Middle East and Africa. So that's more or less.
Somebody had a question in chat. When are you gonna release on the marketplace the Middle East, and Africa?
Yeah, we sent it. Like I said, just said, they're delaying a little bit on the process of actually getting it into the SIM. They're improving, so I'm pretty sure by next month, the latest, it should be there, because hopefully maybe by the end of this month, but maybe next month for sure. Yeah.
So I've actually never used Eric's. I remember when you first released it, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but what the heck is it, right? Like, that was my honest first impression. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, this is not GSX, right? That's not what this is, right? It's not a ground handling plugin per se.
Right.
But so when I first saw it, I was like, what the heck is this? But now with you kind of explaining it, I kind of have a better idea of what it is. I didn't realize that you're actually making brand new models of the ground traffic too.
Brand new models.
I thought it was just the default models with new logos. Like, that's what I was under the impression that this was all just a bunch of default models with some liveries on it. That's what I thought.
We wouldn't sell that. They will say with scammers. No way. Say.
Oh no, yeah, that would. I mean, just be honest. People be doing that. Though.
I understand completely what you say. But the thing is, for example, the idea with Eric's is replacing the models themselves and adding logos and making them look a little bit more like vehicles you find in those places.
Mm-hmm.
Is not meant to replace GSX. I'm not sure when will they release it though.
So does this add any more ground services than what's available right now?
It's just no, actually.
Because, like, for example, in this shot, I'm seeing a catering truck in the back. I see the baggage carts, the loader, and usually you will see the default type doing the same thing, but of course the models are different. Gotcha.
There's different models, different textures, and everything.
Gotcha.
Eric's, it's meant to replace the models and the textures of the default, with more regional type looking vehicles.
Gotcha.
I gotta tell you that
it should work with GSX whenever they release it, because GSX, GSX is gonna work with the default vehicles, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna replace it the same way it replaces the default vehicles in any case. You were saying, sorry?
No. I was just funny. You're talking, and I went back on the website and on your website and look at it, LatinVFR.com, and I have the North America scene which you had sent to me, and we play with it. And I love when I'm streaming and I pull up to a gate or I'm starting to stream. Here comes a Lufthansa truck, or because everybody goes, "What is that?" Because everything is blank in Microsoft. But now that I see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas in the world, I'm gonna have to go grab those. Because now I'm not going to be able to fly the sim looking at generic ground equipment.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Like I like, until today, I really wasn't sold. I'll just be honest. Until today, I wasn't sold.
Yeah, actually, the idea is, well, I mean, we separated them between packs because it took some time to actually go over each of them, because the coding is different, modeling. I mean, animating each vehicle is different. I mean, every different model and animation is it's a whole completely different thing. We put in different sounds too, so the sounds are
Really?
not the generic sounds.
It's not the
Um,
usual.
that's right. That's right. That's right. And one thing that you saw from the default is like you see like a lifter, one of those. It's just amazing. Some of the traffic, I don't want to say anything bad about what they did, but some of the traffic, airport traffic, was just ridiculous
Oh,
in
go
one
ahead,
way.
say it.
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, I'm very grateful with people from Asobo and Microsoft. They allowed us to actually go ahead and try to edit those things. The SDK is very good. I gotta give them credit for that. The SDK is very good so far. There's a lot of things they should try to improve. Like I said earlier, I hope they could actually allow us to make modifications in the game with certain things, certain options and such. But there are some models there that are kind of a little bit far off. I would say, yeah.
That Lufthansa baggage cart is pretty dope. Like that's pretty cool what you did
Yeah,
there.
the thing, for example, where we would have liked is that, for example, that there are different type of carts that work in real life. You have like container carts. In this situation, the way that the sim works, the only type of carts that work are the baggage loader, like a normal baggage. Usually, the big aircraft, they put in container
Yep.
into the aircraft. For example, that plane that you have right there is just like that. You put in the luggage in every. They go into the airplane separately. But we would have loved for it to have the option that if you're flying for example, the 787, you call for the container loader, not the baggage loader, which is
Right.
inaccurate completely. So I mean, the way it is right now, we cannot do that. We hope there is a certain update to come in that would allow the user to call for a container loader instead of a regular loader.
So out of
No.
curiosity, because I mean you're more knowledgeable in this area, like so, especially with this ground handling stuff, I've noticed that you can only ever open the front baggage or cabin, or not cabin,
Right,
baggage
right.
compartment. You can never. I haven't seen any, except for I think the CRJ from Aerosoft. They allow you to open up the back, but you don't get a loader back
Luggage.
there, right? You don't get a luggage loader
Right.
back there. So is that a limitation of the SDK right now? It's
Yeah,
not
it
allowing
is
people to not only create that second one out of the default aircraft, but to be able to, script something to drive back there and load in.
It is a limitation, yes. Like I said, from my point of view, this is a very long project, the Flight Simulator 2020. Hopefully, they'll come up with that sort of option with a drop-down menu that you say, okay, put it in the first door, or open the first door and load in the back, or load in the front, or whatever. Hopefully, they will come up with that, and that'll be great. I'm pretty sure they would eventually come up to that point. It's just a matter of time, hopefully, and by then we should be able. And like I said, I would love for them to actually have the catering. I mean, the container loader instead of that baggage loader, which is completely. I mean, it kills the immersion completely. That's why a lot of people are waiting also for GSX. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for GSX myself.
Oh,
Yep.
All right. What's the genesis behind the Jetway Pro? What were you guys thinking with that? Are you sitting around one day saying what?
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, the idea was the jetways. They looked too repetitive in the way that the modeling was not. I mean, to be quite honest with you, the modeling for the default jetway, it was decent. It was decent. And I know a lot of airports in the world have that sort of jetway with the transparent glass and all that sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people that fly to certain areas, they like to have that kind of jetway. So we thought, well, okay, the idea originally was to have solid jetways for example, North American airports, glass jetway for European airports, and different type of priorities for the other regions of the world. This SDK did not allow for that, to have certain airports, certain default airports. We're talking about the default airports, because as you can know, if you get a customized airport, you get the jetway from that airport that comes with the jetway. Pro does only replaces the default jetway on all airports that they are. So the idea originally was to get like AREX in a way that we'll get, for example, for North America, a very highly detailed North American solid jetway, for example. For Europe, that was the idea. That sort of jetway was the idea for Europe. But then we found out that there wasn't, it wasn't possible to do that, to put it by regions. So we were left with two options: either do a solid jetway or do a glass jetway. So what I thought was, okay, so the sim comes with a solid jetway. I mean, why would I do a solid jetway if there's already a solid jetway?
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a tough call, and we went ahead and did the glass jetway. It has been a very, very popular add-on.
Really?
A lot of people like, yeah, it's more than what I thought. People really like it, and it seems people like that sort of jetway instead of the solid one. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe because you can see transparent and all sort of thing. But we put very high detail sounds on it. The developer that helped me, Irfan, he's a great, talented guy. Again, he did an amazing job. And so we went ahead and do that. I mean, it enhances your default airports, that's for sure.
Yes.
You land at a default airport, it enhances it completely. And people like it. People really do like it. And it's been great. Great.
Yeah, it's definitely a European airport. I mean, I've been through a couple of them, and I'm looking at the modeling you guys did on it, man. The glass texture
looks
is
amazing.
ridiculous. Yeah, you could go in and out of this thing. It's not like a solid wall you go behind here. You could see through it. Yeah.
I want to thank Lars from 29 Palms. He was testing it. And he told me, look, initially I did the jetway, and the texturing was not that great. He went ahead, look, you have to go back and do this better, and then I said, okay, I'll go back, and it worked out well. So this is another developer, Lars from 29 Palms. He's a great guy too. So he helps us out with the control app, and it's all great. So yeah, so it was a lot of work with that model, with the texturing, and I'm glad people really do like it. It's great.
We all need that person who's going to tell us, hey, man, this sucks. Do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, because I was just thinking about the same thing. I thought that, I mean, you mentioned earlier in the stream that you guys use Substance Painter to do a lot of the texturing work for it, and it really does show. Like, you can see, like, it looks like somebody definitely did not wash that window, but it looks really good. And I was thinking the same thing with XP. I remember actually me and him were talking about it a while back. It was like, should I get the Jetway Pro? Because I was a little confused. I was like, so does this, what does this do all the airports in the world? Is this kind of like SAM? I was trying to understand exactly what it is, because it's, for me as well, I'm in the US, and so we don't see a whole lot of glass. Like they exist, but they're not like as
they're not that much
prevalent as it is in Europe. And so I'm not surprised at all that Europe is really picking this up. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go glass jetways all the way.
So I'm pretty sure the people who want to get it are people who want to customize their default airports, make them a little bit more, interesting. Because I mean, there's the greatest thing of Flight Simulator 2020 is that you can fly anywhere, and well, the only bad thing is that once you land, I mean, the airport looks default. But if you have something else, people will really like it. So it's been great. I
do want to ask, so like, because I noticed like you have like the AirX project, you have the Airport Jetway Pro, and then obviously you do scenery too. So like, how much, like, ratio wise, like how much are you focusing on scenery versus focusing on projects like that? I feel like projects like this are not really, there's scenery obviously, but it's a bit more than that, right? It's kind of like you're getting a bit deeper into the core of the sim with this. It's a bit more widely used as well.
Good question. Well, the thing is, Microsoft, before they even released it, the View from a Soul, Microsoft, they sat down with us developers, and one of the things that they said to us, they said, we're going to be doing airports. And they were straightforward. They said, look, we're going to be doing airports. Right now, for example, the airport of Madrid, they did a very nice job with the default one. And they just recently did Miramar too. So as you can see, there's two airports that I have that they already done. So there's another one coming up soon, which I won't say which one it is.
Oh, man.
Because I don't want people to wait for it and not buy mines. But anyways, the thing is they're going to come with that one too very soon, and I'm pretty sure with many others. So the thing is, look, if I stick around and just focus on airports, the situation will be that I'll be competition with Microsoft, and I'm gonna still be doing airports. There's gonna be a few more airports coming in, hopefully some new ones. I was looking at Philadelphia Airport. We're working on that one.
That'd
It's
be
gonna be
great.
coming up.
Come on, man. Do it.
Hopefully
Do
Microsoft does
it.
not release Philadelphia Airport, because if they
It's so
but
random, the airports. I feel like that Asobo themselves release. Like, I haven't been able to really find a trend anywhere of like, all right, they're gonna, like, they just drop. I mean, we still get very few in the U.S. It's mostly like in Germany, but still, it's like kind of random how they come out. So I feel like it's probably really hard for you and other developers to decide, like, what do you think they're gonna come out with, unless you know there's a world update coming out or something.
right. So yeah, it's kind of difficult to know. So what I've been trying to actually look at is look, okay, where is the sim lacking in terms of scenery? So we did ARX, we did the Jetway, we just did the static aircraft package, and honestly, people are responding much better to those sort of packages than
Really?
they would with airports. But I'm not losing focus. We're still doing airports. We're still got a lot of airports to go. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft cannot do the 30,000 or so airports in the world. It's very difficult to do that.
I am biased. Let me cut you here. I'm biased. I don't care what platform it is, P3D, FSX, X-Plane, Microsoft Flight Sim. I don't think they'll ever do airports as good as airport developers. It will look okay, and it's acceptable, but
well, I'll be straight up.
Details, man.
Okay.
It's missing.
I'll be straight up honest with you. They are contracting developers, established developers, to actually do the airports for them. And Gaia Simulations, I don't know if you, of course, you know them.
Mm-hmm.
They are actively doing airports for them, and they're decent. They're a decent, very good developer, and they're doing airports for them. Some, of course, not all.
All right, hold on. Blue, do me a favor. You're scrolling through. Go to Miss New Orleans and look at the second to last shot and the last one, and tell me if anybody's gonna do that. Any show that to the audience. Go the second to the last.
I'm there.
Look at that.
Wow.
What is that?
That's a freaking bathroom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come on, man. Who's gonna do that?
Do the toilet flush too?
Someone contacted me saying, "Are you sure the bathroom is like that? A pilot could see through the bathroom and see who's there and everything." I don't think they could see through, but yeah, I mean, somebody was like concerned that there's no privacy in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then the last shot too, looking just through the terminal out into the building, man, with the reflection from the floor. I mean, it's crazy. So look, I do appreciate Microsoft Flight. Let me say this: doing right now, JFK is a what do you call that scenery? Handcrafted scenery, and it's good. But I'm still waiting for a JFK to come out, because I know if anybody decides to do it, they're going to add just that little bit more to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, different.
Right. So I appreciate Microsoft doing the handcrafted scenery. Absolutely. Let me just get it out of the way here. You know what I mean? It's good.
I did want to.
I've been living off them, but I need the payware quality ones to come out too as well.
Yeah. Actually, you're not alone. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was going to say, I did want to point out too, like when it comes to those handcrafted that come out, even though they're made by contract developers, those contract developers are still not putting as much time into it as they would their own personal projects.
Well,
if you compare,
yes.
for example, Gaia, and I'm not trying to promote them today, but I've seen their actual projects that they put out versus the ones that we know they made for Asobo, and I'm like, this is great, this is good, this is cool, it's new, it's free, but it does nowhere near as good as what they do for themselves. So sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good point. I've worked as a contractor before for other companies, not for simulator, but for other companies. Sometimes when you work as a contractor, it's different as working as a freelancer or as a person that you're doing it for because you like to do it. It's different. It's very different. But I gotta say, it's very challenging to actually do this because once you have it free, people are not interested in buying it. But there's a market. For example, Miramar has sold well, I think, despite being already there free. and people they really respond to the things. Yeah, I just saw there was a LAX airport also released recently,
Really?
in certain market, I think,
I didn't
and
know that.
it appears to have a lot of people interested on it, and there's a market. I mean, there's some people sometimes they just get bored with the default things and they just want to try something else. That's where we come in. That's where.
Yep.
Quick question,
Mhm.
and they've been asking this in my chat, and I would be killed if I didn't ask. It's very specific to Miramar. Can you spawn under a hangar?
Yeah, you
Okay,
could.
thank you.
Once you select the gate, if you select the gate, or the parking stand where the on the hangar is, you could spawn in there. You could, of course. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't have the number of the stand, but if you look in the map in the area where the hangars are, and you have a spot right there, yeah, you'll spawn in there. Yes, of course.
Yes, Tyler, you're welcome. That was for you. Thanks for waiting.
All right, there's a tons of questions in chat about different places that need scenery. I'm gonna ask for this one myself. Someone just put it, MKJP. So Jamaica.
Wonderful. That was one of the first airports I did back in 2009, I think.
Right.
It's a nice
P3D?
place.
Yeah,
That's
we need it for Microsoft Flight Sim. I need to be able to fly home, man.
that's
I'm Jamaican.
oh, that's Kingston. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome place. Very
Are
beautiful.
you gonna do it?
Well, I think so. Why don't we just do another podcast where I just show you the airports?
That sounds
preview
good to
time?
me.
That's amazing.
I would love it.
We'd love to do that. Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Somebody says the Caribbean need more airports. Somebody wanted to know if you're going to update TTPP, which is Trinidad PRCO. Forgot what sim it was saying. If you're going to ever update that or drop it on the marketplace or something.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that one is that it was done so long ago that we'll have to redo it from scratch because of many of the airports that I've done many years ago. For example, that one was done like 10 or 11 years ago. I mean, as time comes by, technology changes, people become also more attentive to the details and stuff. So sometimes just updating it is not worth it. What I would do in that case is do it from scratch. And I think that will be, if I do that airport again, I'll do it from scratch and I'll do a better job than what it was before. So yeah, of course, we'd love to go back and do those things. Of course. Yeah.
If I could tickle your brain.
MDPP. What about that?
That's Puerto Plata.
Yeah.
I think my friend from Dream Team. What is it? No.
FS Dream Team.
No. What was the name? Dream Flight, I think. Yeah, Dream Flight did that for Prepared, and I think he has that coming through. Yeah, he has it coming. Yeah.
So a lot of the P3D developers, are they kind of like have like in the pipeline to kind of port over all their scenery before they start making new stuff?
I'm not authorized to talk for them, but I could tell you this. I would say 90-something% of all of those airports that even if they're free right now, they're gonna come to the sim. And many of them, of course, are free. And I'm talking about airports in the United States, and I'm talking about other airports. They're gonna do them. And I've spoken with them, and I encourage them. Look, you need to keep going with it because they're gonna do them. They're gonna be released. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they will.
So another question about that on that. So like, what's not the process, but is it really easy to port from P3D to Microsoft when it comes to scenery? Is it just like drop it into the editor and recalibrate it, or is it?
Good question.
Well, like X-Plane is very, very difficult. Well,
the thing is that for MSFS, the lighting is different. The lighting is different, so you get shading is completely different. And for what we did for Flight Simulator for Prepared was we did the shadows, we did all those sort of things in the textures to be baked into the textures. You don't need that anymore with FS 2020. So with FS 2020, people are demanding more high detailed, more crisp textures, which can be possible because now you don't need to actually bake shadows. You don't have to bake any more ambient occlusion sort of thing into the textures. So you could do that, of course. For example, I'm working right now on Baltimore, and I need to retexture the entire thing because if I just do what you're saying, I could do it, of course. You could just go ahead and polish it like that. it's not worth it. I mean, it's not gonna look good. We need to get it to the standards of the new sim. So
Yeah,
then the
agreed.
standards are to actually do a very high detail crisp texturing, which is, I mean, you could see default reports with very high detail crisp textures. You're not gonna have payware with less than that. It's not possible. So
We
that's why,
stay away from payware with less than that. Ask Blue,
yeah,
he will tell you.
yeah.
Oh
So
yes.
the idea is to actually, if we're gonna release this, we need to actually work it better. So yeah, that's the idea.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not that simple unless you want to, if unless you don't want to work it. That's the way to put it. Yeah.
Basically, if you want to make crap, just drop it over there.
Just drop it
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, look, in your estimation, I have to go here. There's
Uh-oh.
X-Plane 11. You know what you did with X-Plane 11. You got the help. You released some scenery. Some other people help you. X-Plane 12. Have you looked at it? Have you seen what they're doing with the lighting and the different things?
Well, I think I've seen some things. Yeah.
Any thought on it for you from LatinVFR with X-Plane 12?
Yeah. Well, I would love to actually get the packages that I have for for X-Plane 11 in there too. So we'll look into that. I'll speak with them. The situation with X-Plane is that I would love to tell you yes, but the thing is, there's just a lot of competition in there. You can see, for example, Miami Airport. It's really competitive in there. So we'll have to think on that to see how we could actually, compete in there. So yeah, we're looking at all the platforms coming in. We're not going to be exclusive to one platform, for certain. So yeah, we're going to be looking at that too.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that I'm sure you guys as a team are humble and you see yourselves and you see your own weaknesses and you see your own weak areas. But when I look at LatinVFR stuff, and I've only been introduced to you guys in Microsoft because I didn't play P3D, but the quality that I've seen in your scenery, if you were to get that same quality in X-Plane, you would strongly compete against other.
Yeah.
I understand that there's Baltimore scenery, there's Miami scenery, there's there's a lot of the scenery you've done on P3D because you weren't already competing with X-Plane, so it didn't matter what they made on that side. But if you were to go over there and it exists, you would be a strong competitor. Yeah, you would probably step on somebody's toes, which may not be happy for them, but I think that I think you'd do better than you would expect.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a shot, of course.
Yeah, I'll honestly say that you're going to be top 3 senior developers in X-Plane. Look,
I've seen some very nice.
Oh yeah, trust me. I have my picks of good people for X-Plane, and then there's just some stuff that I mean, not to say anything about anybody, but people say, "Hey man, can you look at my scenery for me?" And I want to go, dude, you got work to do. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna introduce to my audience, you need to put in some more work.
But it's already in the store when they reach out to you.
So and that's why X-Plane sometimes is looked at as like a third class platform. Because we sometimes feel like that they don't give it the respect it deserves. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you, just as my opinion, if you looked into it, and drop at least one scenery and see what the response is, I think it's going to be good because the quality that you have here would translate over to that. Definitely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll definitely give this a chance. I'll of course go through it with the team, and hopefully we could come up with something. So when or less is the new X-Plane platform coming in?
We don't know yet.
I'm hoping first quarter next year. They've been dropping a lot of screenshots lately, just one after the other, every other day.
Right.
And whenever I see them on a roll like that, I feel like they're close. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have no in with them to see, but throw it a shot. See, Blue, me and you are batting for X-Plane right here. Austin, give us a call.
I just, I just want to see the best in every scenery that I'm invested in. Yep. And I'm on Microsoft. I'm in X-Plane. I see LatinVFR doing their thing on the Microsoft side. They've been around a long time. You've already adapted to the different versions of P3D and FSX, and if you can do that, then you can adapt to X-Plane. I'm looking at your scenery, like, so what would I'm like, why every scenery I see that you have, literally there is a version of it in X-Plane, so you would definitely be competing with somebody. But yeah, I mean, if you could just show them and show them value that they're not getting already, you'd have to definitely do research. But yeah, I mean, we would love to see you on the X-Plane side if it makes sense on your side.
Yep. You said you do flight simming as well. Do you ever get a chance to even fly around?
Yeah, well, sometimes I get tempted and I hop in and fly a little bit here and there. Yeah, but yeah, usually if I do serious simming, I do prepared. But if I want to do some BFR, I just do the MSFS 2020, which graphics are, I think, great. Yeah, wonderful.
So you do fly airliners then?
Yeah, I do. I like. Yeah, I want to see if I could. If you could give me some ideas on how to learn how to fly the A320. That's my Achilles heel. I cannot fly that.
It's like an iPhone with wings, man. Once you learn it, you're good to go.
Nice.
Don't let anyone hear me say that.
I'm biased. I am a PMDG 737 guy, so yeah.
It's a great plane. You can't beat that plane. You know what I mean? It really is good. I mean, do you as research, not research, but when you finish the scenery, do you fly into your own sceneries just to see how they look?
Yeah, usually I do. Yeah, of course. I need to test the ILS. I need to test performance. I need to check how it looks. And sometimes sometimes there's things you don't see as a developer. You need to see it as a pilot. So everything started me as being an enthusiast, as a pilot. So that's how it gets me trying to do the best job I could possible. The best experience, the best thing for the simmer, I think is the most important thing.
I do have a question, kind of back on your product side, and that's about this airport static aircraft bundle. I know that XP wouldn't really be too interested in this. He has enough static aircraft around him.
Yeah, of course.
But like, how? Because how did you do this? Like, I understand this is per airport. Like is hand placed. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of freaking airports to do. So how does that work?
Yeah. So like I
got
said,
a map up of like.
I wanted to actually improve a little bit the atmosphere, the airports. This is something that was lacking. People used to fly in. Well, of course, you might have everything configured. Norm may have something with the AI traffic packages that he has and all that sort of thing, or he flies past them. But usually the idea was to actually do some of the Asobo airports. It was like 50 airports or so, put them static aircraft, the airlines there and such. I did that, and then I received a lot of feedback. People saying, "No, expand the list." So we went ahead and did 300. The most difficult part of all, I think, was deliveries and the placement, of course. There's hundreds of airlines that we did, many different types of aircraft. Delivery part was the challenging part because, I mean, we need to do them from scratch. So and the placement was looking at, for example, I had another computer scene where certain type of airlines parked certain areas and then place them there. So far, people really do like it. People really like the idea of actually arriving to an airport that looks populated with local airlines. So these are the people who are not really that much into, getting into the AIG sort of thing, or, some people are not much into that. And some others are too. You could actually have them work at the same time if you like.
What is AIG? Yeah.
Sorry?
What is AIG?
Is that the AI package that there is? I think there's like a free AI.
AI package, yeah.
Oh, it's a free AI aircraft package. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm clicking through the pictures here.
Norm, how do you get your aircraft, Norm?
My CSL, actually, I'm using VATSIM CSL files. I don't download a lot of liveries. I just use a VATSIM CSL on Microsoft Flight Sim with vPilot, and that seems to cover not all of them, but a decent amount of them in the US. I haven't looked at Europe yet to see how it covered, because I'm clicking through the pictures for the static aircraft here. What's the proper name for it? Microsoft Flight Sim what was it called? The proper name
Airport
of
Static
it is
Aircraft Bundle.
Airport Static Aircraft Bundle. Right. I'm clicking through the pictures on that, and I'm going, wow, it is everywhere. I mean, U.S., Europe, Asia, Canada. I mean, the whole thing is here. Dubai. I mean, so you're saying this can work alongside me being on VATSIM?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, of course.
So is it taking, like, what percentage of like parking spots is it taking away from you? That's the question.
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
I know that a lot of people who run VATSIM worry about that.
I try not to touch a lot of the gates where there are jetways. But I was saying, for example, if a terminal has jetways, maybe 20%, 25% of those stands are occupied. So we could put some life into them. I try not to, but I mean, people want airplanes, so I had no choice.
I think this picture I have up right now, I think this looks like JFK.
That's JFK. Well, in that case, there are certain airports. For example, JFK is one of them. London Heathrow, Frankfurt is another, where we removed the parking gates so that they don't get populated with aircraft. So you don't actually spawn into them. The rest, it's a gamble of 25%, maybe 30%.
Yeah, my mind is working overtime now, thinking, maybe I need to drop this into my sim, even though I'm always online on VATSIM. Just give it that real world feel of just more traffic.
Yeah. There's airports, for example, that don't receive that much aircraft. Maybe they receive 10 flights. I still put in something there to make it feel alive. People fly into default airports, and they don't actually they want to at least feel that there's airliners there from that country, from that airport.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And this is only working right for default airports, correct?
For everything, all airports.
So even if you were to buy a payware of somebody else's,
if the payware does not have an exclude that removes library objects from the ramp areas, it should work fine. Yeah.
I'm about to buy this right now.
No, come on.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dubai going, even with traffic going into Dubai, it still doesn't look enough, because real Dubai's got a gate at almost every airplane.
The thing is that I couldn't remove those gates because people need to park. So
exactly. But
also, if you have an AI traffic package, you need to have AI traffic pushing back and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, you did say blue. I didn't give this a shot, but I'm looking at it now, going,
in the same way.
It just more on the ground, more airplanes, and just
a lot of people really like the idea of actually, like I said, I mean, they come in, they land, and they see airliners there parked. Some of these people don't want to get something else to actually install and put in, and they just want to have those planes parking there, and it's been really good. It's been very well received, I think.
All right. Okay. So question. All right. I always feel like I come up with the best ideas on these podcasts. Apparently, it seems like you have literally all the models and liveries for everything. Could you not yourself come out with an AIG of sorts?
That would be a great idea. Of course.
Yeah. Whether it be payware or free, like where people can have not only static aircraft but animated aircraft that follow. I guess.
That could be a project. Of course. Yeah, we'll look into that.
I'm just saying.
It's a good idea. We already have the models. We have the libraries, and so it should work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at this and I'm like, I'm not just saying this because you're here or because we're live, but I'm like legit sold, and I want this installed on my, because I absolutely hate, and I've said this many times, I hate taking off or landing or taxiing around an empty COVID airport. Like, it's not fun. I work on the ramp now, and I just yesterday I was working. I was like looking out, from the gate. My flight hadn't got there yet, and I was looking at how busy planes just going here. I mean, planes sitting there waiting for other planes to go. There's like a line forming. That's how busy it is on a typical day at an international airport. And I'm like, we fly to the sim, and unless you're at a VATSIM event, you ain't got no traffic.
I used to work in an airport too, and I used to work part also in a ramp. That was like in the year 2002, 2003. It was an experience, and seeing those airplanes. I mean, you feel motivated to go back to home and play on the sim, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, That was part of my enthusiasm into this. Very much.
This must be Boeing Field or something I'm looking at. I'm seeing
That's
unpainted.
Renton.
What is it? Renton, sorry.
Yeah.
Unpainted 737 Maxes.
Actually, we're updating. We're adding 100 more airports, so it's going to be 400
Jeez.
instead of 300, and we're doing Everett, which is also
Nice.
So that's going to come out in a few days, hopefully.
So how
so
easy?
This is a special announcement now.
Nice, there it is. New, what is it? 100 airports coming to.
Yeah.
This
100 more.
static aircraft bundle. So how easy is it for someone to update this? Is there like an installer? Is it going to notify them?
Yeah, on the control app, once they open it, they will be receiving a notification saying that it's been updated. So it's gonna happen soon, hopefully.
Once again, big shout out to Contrail.
Yeah. Definitely,
Yep.
man. Wow.
Yep.
Now, this is awesome, man. Your enthusiasm for doing this stuff shows in the work that you do and what you bring out here, just adding to the sim world, and it's fascinating. It's good. I like it. I have your products. I use them all the time, and I'm gonna continue to use them because it just brings that much more life to a base game. That's the
Thank you so much.
It
Appreciate that.
really does.
Really
It definitely
appreciate
does.
Like imagine having the static aircraft bundle with the AirX together. That's an
And the
airport,
Jetway
right?
Pro.
And the Jetway Pro. Yeah, my bad. I missed that one.
You get and you have a brand new sim, basically. It looks completely different.
I was gonna also recommend, like, is it possible? Like, does it make sense to make a AirX bundle so that now that you have all the regions that you want, like, so somebody like me who has 0 of them could be like, all right, I'm just gonna buy the whole bundle and get the whole world.
That's coming up soon. Yeah, we're working on that soon. Yep,
Nice.
it's coming up.
Here you go. You heard it here.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Good deal, man.
Yes.
Wow. Anything that you'd like to have the audience know, future projects about LatinVFR, about what you do? You've talked a lot about, you've gone into depth, which we appreciate here. Anything that we haven't covered yet that you wanted to get out there?
Well, like I said, we're going to be doing more new airports coming in and coming soon. We're going to be trying to expand the list. For example, the idea he was just telling me about the AI traffic, that'll be great if we come up with that. It's challenging, but we'll try to look at that since we already have already have all the materials. We already have all those aircraft there already. So we might look into that. And
I feel like the only challenge you might have is animating them, because I don't know if they're animated right now.
Yeah. We'll certainly look at that, because actually that's something that is completely lacking. Yeah. But there's other people also doing the same thing. So yeah. So let's see who comes up first with that.
Nice indeed. Wow.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, it's been an hour and a half already, man. Can you imagine? I told you it was going to be an hour. We've gone an hour and a half already. Yep. And I'm glad you gave us a shot coming on the show here. Definitely appreciate it. And we hope to see you again when you have something coming out. You never know.
Of course. Maybe with Kingston. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yep.
We'll showcase it for you. And we'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, LatinVFR in the house. Blue.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming with us, man. It was just so good to talk to you, hearing your thoughts, your opinions. I always love hearing from developers and hearing your mindset. And one thing that always shines is your passion. And I think that we definitely all see that. You've been doing this for a long time, and to do this long, you have to have a passion for it.
Thank you so much. Yep.
So thank you, man, for sharing that.
All right. Thanks for your comments, man.
Absolutely, man. The link is in the chat, guys, by the way. LatinVFR.com is the link. Go check it out. And I'm telling you, I'm looking over, man, I'm going to be broke tonight.
Yeah, me too.
I'm picking up a few things definitely on the way out here just because it's that good.
The prices are actually not that high, though, to be honest. Like, I mean, it's like $8 or, so it's...
I'm used to paying $30 for scenery in X-Plane, man.
Yeah.
These are half the price. That's what we love about it. But anyway, we could go on and on and on and on about it. Definitely. All right,
what you got going on, XP?
Weekend's coming up. Tomorrow's Friday. Another XPO. I know there's a FNO going on in Hawaii, but I'm going to skip that because I don't want to create headaches. But I'm going to do something special tomorrow. Weekend, I'm not sure exactly what's coming up. Be a surprise. But Monday is going to be a heck of a surprise for you guys. I can't even say what it's going to be. It's going to be nice. Just stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know when it comes out. What about you? Oh, and the BluXPerience. Come next week. Should we tell them what we're doing next week for the BluXPerience?
Next week, nothing. It's Christmas, so
that's right.
Won't be doing anything next week. We should be back the week after that, though, for our 20th episode and our most likely and will be our final episode of the year. So it's gonna be pretty dope. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. I'll reveal what that will be. I was gonna do the Atlas Air 747 on Microsoft Flight Sim, but I gotta make sure it's not broken. So we'll see. You know how Microsoft Flight Sim is. And then this weekend, Saturday, I'm partnering with Flight Sim Association and Flight Sim Expo, and we got a bunch of developers coming through for a live panel discussion with, I believe, developers from X-Plane, like the actual Laminar Research, Flightbeam, Orbix, a bunch of people coming together to kind of talk about, like, you know, flight sim stuff, and plus there's a bunch of giveaways, so definitely come through. It's gonna be on Saturday, I think afternoon US time, so definitely come back for that on the channel.
That's it. Awesome. Oh, real quick, Ricardo, someone who's asking, I wanted to know, you guys have a Discord server for LatinVFR?
Oh no, sorry, but we might come up with it, of course. Yes, let's look at that.
That'd be cool. I've seen some really cool like scenery developer Discord channels where like they'll even have the community help them even come up with reference photos and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yep, definitely. So there you go, T-Mac. That's your question. Got it asked. All right, guys. That's it, man. That's gonna do it. We'll wrap it up. Appreciate you guys in the audience hanging out with us for this hour and a half. As usual, this is gonna be on Spotify too. For replay for you guys, other than YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and so forth.
Twitter and everything else.
Shout out Ricardo. Thank you so much, man. We'll work together some more, man. I love it. I love it when we work together. It's awesome. Yeah. So I'll see you guys, and as Blue always says, go ahead, Blue.
You always forget. Remember, you have 3 choices: give up, give in, and give it all. You got peace, love, and God bless you. We will see you guys next time, next video. We all the way out. Peace.